Community connections, CKMS. Local sounds, thoughts, passions, and success. Celebrate local, your neighbor's got a story to tell. Community connections, CKMS.
Happy Friday, Waterloo region. You're listening to CKMS Community Connections. My name is Bob Jonkman. I'll have Lillie Proksch of the Women's Crisis Service Waterloo region here momentarily. In the meantime, we're going to listen to some Jordan Callist.
Can you spin me around the room we share? 'Cause I just wanna hold you close. I wanna be a fly on your wall. Can you teach me to sing? Can you show me the world you live in? 'Cause I just wanna know your mind. Make me a part of your life. Can you show me the world? Can you take me with you when you go? 'Cause I don't ever wanna lose your love. When you grow your wings and fly. When you grow your wings and fly. When you grow your wings and fly. God bless this mess, is what the letter said. But you hid it under your bed. Signed it with my name, but it didn't mean a thing. Knowing it wouldn't cross your mind.
songs by Jordan Callist. From her Boxing Day album, we heard Song for a Housefly. And from Prairie Stars, just released very, very recently, we heard Snail Mail. This is Natalia Valencia, Finding My Wings.
Catch the wind and leave the nest. I'm anticipating what comes next. Although I'm headed north, I'll miss the comfort of my home. And I'm bound to run before I walk. Forget to think before I talk. Sometimes my voice will falter, head will go underwater when I dive in too deep. I'm still finding my wings. Oh, take to the skies without a flock until I find where I belong. And I'm bound to misspeak, say things I don't mean, and break what I may not know how to fix. Sometimes I'll get it wrong. I'll be more weak than strong. Take both losses and wins. I'm still finding my wings. I'll stay sincere and humble through all the fears and stumbles. I'll keep trying new things. I'm still finding my wings. I'm still finding my wings.
Natalia Valencia, Finding My Wings, recorded here live in the CKMS FM studio a few years ago. Lillie Proksch has emailed me to say she is in the building, navigating the building. This could take hours. We'll send out search parties. In the meantime, here's Chelsea Dansfield, At the Time.
Home with me. It's not a hard decision if you do what you like. I try to look back, it's like staring at the sun always burning me up. I'm about to just come undone. It's got a way about him that makes me weak. And I went where I shouldn't have gone. I did things I shouldn't have done. Lord, I know that I'll regret this all one day. And I held you a little too tight, stayed up all hours of the night. Lord, I know that I'll regret this all one day. Seemed like a good idea at the time. I was young, you were the only one on my mind. Never cared about consequence. Looking back now, it all makes sense. Living too fast, never really seemed to care what tomorrow would bring. Well, where so would it last for the rest of our lives? Seemed like a good idea at the time. Seemed like a good idea at the time. He took me by the hand, said it's time for us to leave. Freddie, haven't been living. I think it might be up to me. All those wasted hours, it's time we take them back. So I climbed up into his passenger seat. I was riding shotgun, but screaming by underneath. He's got a way about him, makes you wanna take it all too fast. We dance like we never see a light. We drank like a well would never run dry. Well, I know that I'll regret this all one day. We laughed like I thought that we could stop time. I looked into your eyes like you'd always be mine. But I don't regret it to this day. And it seemed like a good idea at the time. I was young, you were the only one on my mind. Never cared about consequence. Looking back now, it all makes sense. Living too fast, never really seemed to care what tomorrow would bring. We're well aware this wouldn't last for the rest of our life. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Just seemed like a good idea at the time. I was young, you were the only one on my mind. Never cared about consequence. Looking back now, it all makes sense. Living too fast, never really seemed to care what tomorrow would bring. We were aware this wouldn't last for the rest of our life. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Chelsea Danfield. At the time, I promised to have Chelsea in the studio years ago, but life got in the way and it never actually happened. Wonder if Chelsea is still making music or if her microbiology career took off and superseded. Anyway, here is Awaken Dreaming, who were in the studio a few months ago. This is called Something to Believe in.
Believed in nothing. I never had faith and I never had luck in love. The dark days keep on coming. Gotta keep your head up, show them what you're made of. Keep it together, nothing lasts forever, you know. Keep it together, your time is running out. Take me back when I was young, give me
Something to Believe in by Awake and Dreaming. Then return back to some Jordan Callist from the first album, Boxing Day. This is A Garden. Jordan has a radio show on Radio Waterloo on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Don't think she plays much of her own music, so we have to play it here on CKMS Community Connections.
Would you sing me a song? I hear it ringing in my ears, and even when you're gone, I'll hear it playing for years. You told me you like the songs I write. Would you like this one? Drinking black coffee from a styrofoam cup, and they tell me I'm lucky to have known you so well, to be loved so well. And soon it will be spring, and the leaves will grow, and I know you're there in the stories they tell. I have a memory of running in the yard and eating raspberries while you're tending to the garden, and they need room to grow, and they need love to grow, and you gave it all. You gave it all. And in the April sun, we finally say goodbye and hold each other close. A garden of everyone you loved.
That's Jordan Callist. Lillie Proksch is somewhere in the building. The building is a maze of twisty little passages all alike, and Lillie may have been eaten by a grue. I've sent her some directions by email. Hopefully she'll be in the studio in the next couple of minutes. Here's some more Jordan Callist from the new album called Prairie Stairs, rather. This is a song called Ships.
Don't turn me to memory when I'm far away. I'll return, I'll return. I'll return, I'll return. And when my ship sails off in the distance, and my heart is finally free, it's only farewell. It's not goodbye. You return, you return. You return, you return. My lover never did me wrong. Frozen in time and space. My lover, you did the best you could with all we had to say. And when this all becomes a memory, look back and remember the love. And if you ever wanna find me, I'm never far away. Say my name in past tense, honey, used to break my heart, but I never think about it now. Broke my heart to pieces a million years ago, but I never think about it now. A dove lands on the window, honey, used to make me sad, but I never think about it now. Tomorrow it's your birthday and you'll be 21, but I never think about it now. Don't wanna forget you, just wanna be myself again. Sunrise and moonlight,
Jordan Callist again, called Boxing Day from the album called Boxing Day. And before that we heard Ships, which was from the other album called Prairie Stairs. In the studio with me is Lillie Proksch from Women's Crisis Services, Waterloo Region. Welcome to the inside of the building, Lillie.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Finding this place is so difficult.
It is. I was saying it's a maze of twisty passages all alike, which is a
Yes.
quote from one of the original video games from the 1970s called Colossal Cavern, also known as Adventure.
Ooh.
And there was this bad entity called the Grue. And the way that the game ended was you have been eaten by a Grue, which I thought might have happened to you.
It felt like it a little bit. It's tricky too because our photographer Hillary's upstairs. So I'm used to this building a little bit from being in her gallery up there, but not so much this
But
first
only
floor.
to get up there to the photography.
Yes.
Okay, well. Glad you made it down here to the
Yes.
bottom level,
Yes.
to our little colossal cavern.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Welcome back, actually, because you've been here
Yes.
before. We've had Jen Hutton on in the past as well.
Yes.
You've had an exciting time. Women's Crisis Services of Waterloo Region is having exciting times.
Yes. Yes.
Last night,
Yes, last night was so exciting. Last night actually led into this morning when the official community release of the documentary came out. So it was really nice that we were able to spend some time with our community a little bit last night and celebrate the men behind the work, celebrate our Engaging Men program a little bit, and the release of our new documentary.
the documentary is what?
The documentary is called We Need More Men. It is a look into our Engaging Men program, and it explains a little bit about the evolution of the program and why we, as a women's shelter, are working with men to stop the problem of violence against women.
Right. There was some contention about the name last night. We need more men.
Yes.
I guess some people were of the opinion that it should be just the opposite. We need fewer men. What does that mean? We need more men.
To me, we need more men means so many different things. I think at the very base of it, though, is that we need more men looking for help if they are causing harm, and we need more men speaking up against men's violence against women. So we need more men being allies. We need more men looking to their community for support, and we need more men acting in better, healthier ways to support their communities, their families, their partners, whatever it may be, and themselves too.
To normalize the discussion about violence against women.
Absolutely, and mental health in general as
Right,
well.
Right. I got the impression that not many men reach out for mental health assistance.
I mean, I think that it's not been normalized for men. So, and there's not a lot of programs that are specialized for men either. So sometimes general counseling can be a little bit intimidating, especially when, talk therapy hasn't been something that's been normalized among men. So one of the big goals is humanizing men and giving them the opportunity to, talk with people who are like-minded, who maybe have a story of their own, whether that be perpetrating violence and healing from that, or, experiencing violence when they were a child or witnessing it, whatever it may be. So it's definitely... It's a hard topic for a lot of people to start talking about and thinking about, but I think it's really, really important that we're talking about men and including them in the conversation.
I got that impression from the panelists. There were 4 or 5 panelists
Yes.
up there with Mike Morris moderating.
Yes.
And the stories that they were telling, some heart-wrenching, some uplifting. And the overall theme was that it was an exceptionally good feeling to have men come out, get counseling. I'm not sure it's actually counseling, but to talk about the problems and to act against the problems.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So our panel was made up of our 4 Engaging Men counselors and then our Engaging Men consultant. So it was Jude Oudshorn, who's our consultant, Caleb Redcop, Jermal Jones, Pete McKechnie, and
Dave Logan?
Dave Logan.
Yes.
Yes. So these are the incredible men behind the work. Our Engaging Men program is very unique. It's one of the only men's programs of its kind. So it provides men with 8 one-on-one counseling sessions. Some of them are therapists, some of them are accountability workers, but all of them work to kind of break down the barriers of why they may be causing harm in their families and break the cycle of violence that has most of the time started the violence from happening in their families.
Some of the resistance that the panelists were talking about was the denial by the men that they were speaking with about the existence of violence, about perpetrating violence, about the whole concept just in general. And it was Kayla Bredikop who had a nice story. I'd like to play that clip, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, one story that really stands out for me, I worked with this gentleman for probably between 6 and 8 months, and during that period, there's no contact order, and so he's building up skills to reconnect with his partner. But kind of during this period, I asked him what was his examples of relationships in his life. And he reflected back and he's like, now with what I was learning, my grandparents were abusive, my grandfather, my dad was. And then he thought about it, and he was a younger man, he wanted to have kids. He's like, I could put a stop to this. And that really hit, is that he didn't understand he was in that cycle of abuse. And then through our conversations, through his hard work, recognizing that, what he saw throughout his life and how he understood relationships, and then realizing he can be the choice to make that difference, so that if he does choose to have kids, which he wanted, he doesn't have to continue that cycle. And that was really, really neat to see, and he put in a ton of hard work to get to that point.
That was Kayla Bredikop at the panel discussion on Friday, the 23rd of, Thursday, the 23rd of April, held at the Princess Twin Theatre, a film presentation put on by the Women's Crisis Services of Waterloo Region. A success story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, I think that is exactly what this program is trying to get at. And what a lot of our prevention work is trying to get at is that we know that men who use or who witness violent behavior, experience violent behavior when they're a child, are more likely to grow up and use that behavior against their family as well. And we know that the women in those households, they grow up, they see their parents in an unhealthy relationship, they're more likely to grow up and experience violence within their relationships too. So a lot of what this program is working at is trying to look at the cycle of violence and try to understand the reactions that you have when, you and your partner get in an argument, or you start to feel yourself getting overwhelmed, and trying to create better and healthier coping skills so that you can have a safer and happier family, so that if a violent episode does happen, you can de-escalate it yourself without it escalating and becoming bigger than it needs to be.
Yeah. I want to ask you that awful question.
Okay.
Why don't the women just leave?
Oh, I think this is such a tricky question, and it's, in my opinion, a very ignorant view at things. And I don't mean that against you at all. I mean that I think there's so many different reasons. And I think that the conversation of domestic violence is so complex and it's so nuanced. And so many women, me and Jude, we have a podcast episode that came out, and we talked about the concept of a dimmer switch. And I do a lot of public education for our organization, and this question comes up quite often. And I always say that love is not a light switch. So if my partner came and he hurt me in some way, whether that be verbally or physically, I can't just turn off my love towards him, and I can't just leave that relationship because he hurt me. And the thing with domestic violence is that it's a pattern of power and control, and you don't usually see, when you're in it, the escalation of it. So you can, you might experience these things, and you might not leave because you're in love with this person, and, you never fall in love with this person thinking they're going to hurt you. So, things will happen and they'll escalate, and you don't leave because all of a sudden your finances are connected to him, or you have children or a pet with this person. And, it's so easy to think that you can just leave one day, but the reality is that your entire life is connected with this person and you love them.
Right. And so it's, I guess, a dimmer switch from the men's perspective too. That's what Jude Outshorn had to say.
Yes.
That it doesn't just turn on and off. It's something that slowly ramps up, and when it gets recognized, has to slowly ramp down again. Yeah.
Yes, and there's also a lot of nuance to that, because we recognize as an organization that we only have a limited time with these men. And if we have 8 hours where we can work on seeing what their triggers are and developing their coping skills, we also have to make sure that when we're sending them back to their partner or their family or their community, that they're not heightened. So we have to be very careful with this, where we're making sure that we're not sending them out heightened after these conversations. And it has to be very delicate.
Right. So the men that are doing this outreach to men that have committed violence, these are trained professionals.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They're very highly trained. So most of them are folks that are already working in our community in different capacities. They're professors, they're therapists, they're people who work in outreach positions in other local organizations. And most of them are social workers. And on top of that, they have specialized training from Todd Augustus Scott, who is out west, and he does a lot of accountability work with men as well.
Okay. You mentioned a podcast. Jude is the star of your most recent episode.
Yes, he is.
I'd like to play a quick excerpt of that as well. This is from the podcast episode called Why We Need More Men with Jude Outshorn.
Welcome to She Is Your Neighbor, a show where we discuss the realities and complexities of gender-based violence. This podcast is brought to you by Women's Crisis Services of Waterloo Region, a charitable organization in Ontario, Canada. I'm Lillie Proksch, your podcast producer, filling in for our host, Jenna Main, while she's away on maternity leave. Join me each week as we talk to people to learn how domestic violence impacts people from all walks of life. She is your neighbor, and we all have a role to play in ending domestic violence. This episode is called Why We Need More Men with Jude Outshorn. Jude is a college professor at Conestoga College and a consultant with the Engaging Men program at Women's Crisis Services of Waterloo Region. In this episode, we talk to Jude about the evolution of the Engaging Men program at Women's Crisis Services and talk about our new short documentary, We Need More Men.
So my name is Jude, and primarily I work as a college professor teaching in social services and social service work. And also for, I guess, about the past 20 years or so, I've done what I call accountability work with primarily men who've perpetrated violence towards partners and children. Some of that work done in community-based settings and some in prisons. And I am connected with Women's Crisis Services because I've been helping with this amazing project called Engaging Men, which I talked a little bit about on the previous episode I was on, but also excited to talk more about it.
Quick excerpt from the latest episode of She Is Your Neighbor with Jude Outshorn, with Lillie Proksch in the driver's seat for this particular episode.
Yes, a little different for me.
That episode will air on CKMS FM at 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, June the 9th. No, sorry, June the 2nd, which is currently the latest episode. Hopefully you'll have a few more episodes in the can by the time the June 9th rolls around, so we can finish off the season for you.
Yes, absolutely.
You've been doing this for a long time. This is season 9, or it's season 8, I suppose, with an extra season in between that sort of messed up our numbering system.
Yes, a little mini series in between, which was nice.
Yeah, so that's currently airing at the moment. So I'm not quite sure which episode we're on right now, but that airs
Jude's is the 4th episode of the season.
of this season. Yeah,
Yes.
we're still on the special episodes in between. So we can only air one a week. And,
That's fair, yes.
and there's a lot of episodes to go through. So you've been doing this for, 5 years now, I think.
Yeah, we started the podcast in 2020. It was originally a blog series, but with domestic violence, we wanted survivors to be able to share their stories in their own words. So the podcast became a really great opportunity for us to authentically share survivor stories while also giving them the opportunity to speak on what they experienced, how they healed, and where they are now.
Yeah, it got a website specifically for the podcast, sheisyourneighbor.com.
Yes.
Currently featuring Jude prominently on the front page there, but all the episodes are available through there. So if you want to do some catching up, you can go to the episodes list and listen to them all in a row. hours and hours of listening at this
Yes.
point. Very, very good series.
Thank you. Yes, we don't necessarily recommend binging them. However, just because of, sometimes it's pretty heavy content, but I think that
Yes.
it's a really great educational resource for people who are, curious about domestic violence, but don't know how to educate themselves. There's, survivors, experts, and advocates on the series, all, focused on different things related to domestic violence. We know there's so many intersections between so many different industries and identities, so it's really important for us to be able to highlight different people with different stories.
Right. Makes it sound like Women's Crisis Services is all about media. You're producing films, you're producing podcasts, you're here on the radio, but that's not the sole focus.
No, it's actually just a very small part of what we do. Yeah. Yes. So primarily Women's Crisis Services, we empower and support women and children and gender diverse folks to move beyond domestic violence. So we do that in a variety of different ways. People mostly know us for our shelters. We have Enselma House in Kitchener, we have Haven House in Cambridge, and between those two shelters, we have 90 beds, which makes us one of the biggest violence against women organizations in all of Canada, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes. On top of that, we also have regional outreach services. So for folks who don't necessarily need the shelter, don't need the emergency element of it, it gives them the opportunity to still meet with a worker, do safety planning, risk assessment, and be connected with all of the same community resources that the folks in shelter are connected to.
Right.
Yes.
And it's an emergency service.
Yes.
You have an emergency number.
We do. We have 2 emergency numbers, yes.
Do you have them at hand?
Not off the top of my head, but on top of our phone numbers, we also actually have an anonymous online chat on our website. So on our website, it's www.wcswr.org, and you can chat anonymously online 24/7 with a social worker who can provide support at any time.
The numbers are conveniently listed on the website.
Yes, they are.
If you need a 24-hour support, you can get it at 519-653-2422 or 519-742-5894, or the online chat that's right on the same page there as well.
Yes.
A little button on the other side, safety exit.
Yes.
What's that for?
So again, domestic violence is very nuanced. It's very tricky. And for folks who are experiencing violence and they're looking very quickly for safe resources, if they're on our website and either a partner comes in the room or something happens where they're not in a safe situation, they can click that safety exit button and it will clear their browser, it will clear the screen, and it'll bring them to the weather page. So it's a little bit of an extra safety feature for folks if they, become in an unsafe situation.
Right, and looking for assistance may be considered unsafe in an abusive relationship.
Yes, 100%, especially because we know violence is most likely to escalate when a person is choosing to leave that relationship, just because of the, the loss of power and control of the person causing harm. So it can be very dangerous.
Right. Been hearing a lot about patriarchy lately. This is one example of that.
Absolutely.
Men have all the power. Exists in other spheres as well, in politics and business. But this is probably one of the worst instances of patriarchy, culminating in violence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah. Women's Crisis Services has been around for a while, hasn't it?
Yes, since 1978.
78. Yeah. One of the panelists, Dave Logan, had a nice story to tell about that.
He did.
Can I play that?
Absolutely.
Such a privilege and an honor to be a part of such a great group of people. Justin, our intake person who's kept us organized and on track all year, he's been a great asset. And this work is, it's generational for me as well. My father was a preacher, and my mother from Galt, Cambridge, just kept driving down King Street. You get down to downtown Galt. And my mom was a part of the YWCA back in the mid-'70s. And in 1978, we were sitting around the dinner table one evening, and the phone rang. And we all looked and went, who's calling over dinner, right? And of course the phone wasn't in our pocket, it was down the hall, it was bolted to the wall, so someone had to get up and go. And Mom answered the phone and this funny smile came over her face. And we knew that something was up because she'd been really busy working on this new shelter in town, and a little boy in grade 7 didn't know much about a shelter in town. And she hung up the phone with this great smile on her face and she said, that was Joe, we've got one. we have our first guest. And the first guest of the Women's Crisis Services in 1978 came in, and they were so excited at the time and so relieved that they could join in that community and that partnership with everyone. So it's a privilege to be here, and thank you everyone for being here as well. So we continue the message.
More good news stories for the Women's Crisis Support Services.
Yes. Yeah, that one's especially special. It's really cool to have Dave on the team knowing the history with the organization. And yeah, no, the women who started this organization will be forever grateful for.
Yeah. Started off with one guest in 1978, and how many available places do you have now? You said you have 2 residences?
Yeah, so we have 2 emergency shelters. Both of them have 45 beds. So one is in Kitchener, one is in Cambridge. We are full or almost full. Sometimes we're even over capacity when we have cribs in rooms.
Yes.
But we're very, very busy. We're very lucky that we have the size of shelters we have, because when we're not full, we're able to take in some folks from other regions who also don't have capacity. So we're very connected, thankfully, with all of the other women's organizations around us as well. But yes, we're very busy. Our shelters every year support around 400 people, and then our outreach services support close to 1,200.
Wow, that's an incredible number. That's sad news.
It is. It's sad, but I find it hopeful at the same time, because at the same time, we know that there's safe spaces for them to go, and they're not left out on their own.
Right. Do you find that it's all cis-het women that come out to require support services?
Absolutely not. So we support women, gender diverse folks, and kids in shelter. So we definitely know that there's disproportionate rates of violence happening to people with different identities, and folks in the 2S LGBTQIA plus community definitely are impacted in that. We don't see queer folks in our shelters as much as we probably could be, but we also know that we have incredible partners like Spectrum or other partners within the region that are also providing those folks support at the same time. So that's when we really lean on our outreach services as well, who have very strong partnerships in the community and can work collaboratively with the other folks at different organizations who can provide more nuanced support.
Okay. How about the racialized community?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely see lots of different people. You know, She Is Your Neighbor, we always say domestic violence happens to all different kinds of people in all different kinds of neighborhoods. This definitely isn't an issue that impacts one type of person. So we definitely see people of all races. We see newcomers. We see people who have lived in the region their entire lives. We see rural folks. We see lots of different folks at our shelters.
Right. Is it in proportion to the population, or do you find that some of these separate, or not separate communities, but communities with specialized identities are underrepresented in the support that they seek out?
I'm actually not too sure about that. I can always get back to you on that.
Okay.
But we see a lot of different people. I'd say that we see moms most, which it's not necessarily a different type of person or identity, but we see a lot of folks with very young children, moms with young children, or people who are pregnant quite often. Being pregnant is actually one of the really big reasons why people will actually leave their relationship, because violence is most likely to start in pregnancy.
Really? I have trouble understanding the mechanisms behind that.
I know. There's definitely lots of different reasons why things like that happen. One of the reasons is that it's a whole new different kind of power and control over a person. So now if you have a child with this person, you're automatically connected to them for life.
Right, right. And so, whereas a man might think that he's free and independent, even though he's living in what appears to be a committed relationship, there's that psychological out that he thinks he has. And then once a child is on the way, that out no longer exists.
Yeah.
Women's Crisis Services is well accepted in the community. There was a huge turnout yesterday,
Yes.
120, 130 people in the audience there. A lot of people who are involved in the support community, not just with Women's Crisis Services, but with Sexual Assault Support Centre and other community justice initiatives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Lillie
had
Proksch
some-
was there.
Yeah, we had some
Sarah
folks
Castleman.
from Sanguine there. We had folks from the Family Violence Project, Sexual Support Center. Yeah, CJI was there. Lots of incredible support from across our community.
Yeah. I want to play one more clip.
Absolutely.
This is Jude Oushorn himself thanking Women's Crisis Support for the services that they've offered.
I can't say enough about Women's Crisis Services and the people that work at that organization. I mean, we've got men's faces on the screen here, but there's people in that organization who've worked there for decades at the front lines of this. I think of, I don't know if she's here or not, and maybe she'll be mad at me for saying this, but Jess Almeida, who does outreach work. Oh, hey, Jess. So, I mean, I think in some ways the work that we're doing, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and it's giants like Jess who have been willing to lean into this work and do work in ways that men aren't impacted by this work. When I talk about doing this work, I often get a lot of kudos and a lot of credit and like, oh, you must be a good man and all of that. But when women speak up about this issue or other genders speak up, they take a lot of heat for it and they take a lot of backlash for it. And so I'm just so appreciative I carry people like Jess with me into the session, and I think about Jess and I think about Christina Silva, who's done this work for decades too, and I'm just so appreciative of the work that they've done.
I think Jude Oushorn echoes what we all think about Women's Crisis Services in Waterloo Region. Thank you, Lillie, and thank you, Jen Hutton, and thank you everybody else who is working to make the community better.
Yeah, thank you. It's honestly a privilege to work where we work, and we're very lucky to have some really incredible people working where we work, and all with the same mission and the same vision of trying to make this community safer and happier, and individual women within this community safer and happier as well.
Yeah. Are there plans for more events in the near future? Ooh, big grin.
Oh, yes. We always have something on the go. So right now, our priority is She Is Your Neighbor, and it's promoting the documentary, We Need More Men. Our big event of the year is always in November. So November is Women Abuse Prevention Month. And on November 22nd, we are hosting the, I think, 5th annual Voices in Power Walk to Break the Silence. So this is a walk every year that we do down King Street. We start in Uptown Waterloo. We walk to downtown Kitchener and back. It's 6 kilometers to honor the woman who's killed every 6 days by her intimate partner. So it is a community movement. We all dress in purple. We all, bring our signs. We show support for the survivors, and we honor the people who have not made it. And it's a huge crowdfunding campaign for Women's Crisis Services as well. So it's become our biggest fundraiser of the year.
Okay. And the fundraiser goes the entire month of November?
Yes. So we usually open up crowdfunding at the start of August. And then throughout all of the fall, we do a lot of different promotion, but we primarily will be working on it throughout November, yeah.
Okay. I want you to let us know before that happens so we can run some public service announcements for your fundraiser. That goes for any other organization out in the community as well. If you've got something going on, send us a public service announcement, an audio recording up to 45 seconds long that has the what, when, where, and the who, I guess, the contact information for getting a hold of the people, and we'll run it on the radio for you. No charge. Public service announcements are free. Lillie Proksch, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
I want to go over the website one more time with the emergency number. So if anybody is experiencing issues that they want some support with, violence issues in the household, you can go to wcswr.org. That's the website. And there is an online button there, which is not for emergency use. That's emergency, call 911, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But if you need support, you can get 24-hour, 7-day-a-week support at 519-653-2422 or 519-742-5894. Lillie, glad you're back in the studio. Glad you made it out of the labyrinth.
Yes, thank you.
I hope to hear from you some more closer to November. And we'll talk about the fundraiser and all the other interesting things that have been happening in the world of the Women's Crisis Support Services.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. This has been CKMS Community Connections. My name is Bob Jonkman. CKMS Community Connections is a production of Radio Waterloo, sponsored by Radio Waterloo. Executive producer is Jennifer Strong. CKMS Community Connections airs every Monday at 3 p.m., alternate Fridays at 4 p.m. I'll be back on Monday next week.